Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed.
No, he's not. No.
Try to calm down.
No.
They're going to come in here and handcuff you, book you for solicitation of first-degree murder on your husband. Your husband is well and alive.
Thank God.
Oh, yeah, thank God.
It's not true.
How in the hell did I hear it and see it?
I heard what you heard. It's not true. I heard what you heard and I saw what you saw. Everything they showed you, they showed me.
And how is it not? How are you telling me that?
I
It's
am
not
giving
true.
you my word that it's not true.
What Dahlia is doing here is known as gaslighting, a textbook form of manipulation used by psychopaths, sociopaths, and all those with narcissistic personality disorder. She is trying to cultivate doubt into Michael's mind by making him question his own perceptions. She does this by using persistent denial and misdirection to try and destabilize his thought process. She hadn't come from a broken home, nor was she a battered wife. There were no mitigating circumstances whatsoever. Only the cold-blooded pursuit to get what she wanted, how she wanted, impartial to the suffering.
Alright.
This would be the first of a total 15 times that Dahlia would look directly into the hidden camera. With the naked eye, she would only see a small hole in the corner of the back seat. Not overly suspect, but certainly unusual, and the fact that she continuously glanced at it throughout this setup proved that she harbored suspicion. But although she had doubts, she appeared to have no hesitation in accepting the risk for the potential reward, which in this case would have been the brutal murder of her newlywed husband. In order to recite the entire sequence of events that led up to this moment, including each of the highly calculated and equally corrupt decisions that Dahlia made, this would need to be a 3-part series, so for the purpose of time management, here's a quick rundown of the most notable moments. According to reports, Dahlia appeared to be a very loving wife, always embracing her husband with public displays of affection and telling him how much she adored him, even to the point where people around them started to get uncomfortable. Just over a month into their marriage, in the early morning hours of March 12th, Michael's probation officer knocked at the door, with 2 deputies standing beside him. This was the first time his PO had showed up unannounced, and Michael was informed that multiple calls had come in from an anonymous source, stating that he was selling steroids and ecstasy from the house. They presented him with a warrant and began to search the premises. If the allegation were proven to be true, Michael could have been sent back to prison for over 10 years. Luckily for him, no illegal substances were found. The next weekend, Dahlia suggested a spur-of-the-moment romantic getaway in Palm Beach, and the couple stayed at a luxury hotel that Saturday night. But on the Sunday morning, police were waiting for them in the parking lot, stating they received an anonymous call that he was dealing drugs out of his car. They searched the vehicle, but once again found nothing. 2 weeks later, they went out to dinner, and on their way back to the car, police were waiting for them once more in the parking lot. Only this time they found a small bag of cocaine stashed inside a cigarette pack. Michael immediately broke down in tears, claiming that he had been set up and knew nothing about the drugs. Incredibly, the police believed him and decided not to make an arrest. They later testified that the first reason was due to the conspicuous and unusual hiding place for the cocaine. The second reason was their suspicions of his wife Dahlia, who appeared emotionless as her husband was having a nervous breakdown. On the ride home, as Dahlia was driving, Michael realized that she was the only one who knew where they were going for dinner, and was the only person who had access to the car. So he asked her point blank if she had anything to do with it, and the accusation wasn't taken well. She put the pedal to the floor and got up to 190 on the freeway, all the while screaming at the top of her lungs, claiming to be astonished that he could even accuse her of such a thing. Out of fear of his life, Michael apologized and said that he didn't mean it. The next morning, Dahlia was aware that Michael's suspicions had arisen, and knew she had to divert his attention somehow. So just after making him breakfast, she gave him the incredibly exciting yet completely fictitious news that she was pregnant. Michael was ecstatic. They went out and bought baby books, and the dubious circumstances that occurred the night before appeared to have been forgotten. That very same day, Dahlia contacted her ex-lover, Mike Stanley, a guy she had already used for money and dumped on 3 separate occasions beforehand, yet managed to reel him back in with a single text. After reuniting, Dahlia hatched an extravagant plan. Mike would pose as a lawyer, contact Michael over the phone, and give him the misleading legal advice that in order for him to get off probation, he would need to move his house solely into his wife's name. Astonishingly enough, without doing his own research, Michael decided to take the advice from the mysterious caller at face value, and he and his supposedly pregnant wife then drove to the title company to transfer ownership. Mike Stanley was then cut off without any explanation or even a farewell, and Dahlia then turned to another ex-lover, Mohammed Shihadeh, who she must have thought was a more appropriate option for her next scheme. To cut a long story short, she asked Mohammed to hire a hitman to kill her husband. He neither accepted nor rejected the proposal, but instead of driving to work after their meeting, he drove to the Boynton Police Department to inform them of Dahlia's intention. She was recorded on film handing over a photo of Michael, a photo of the house, and a $3,000 down payment for the assassination. The authorities had more than enough evidence to arrest Dahlia immediately, but to further capture her intent and to really make the charges stick, they set up a second meeting with a supposed hitman, who is actually an undercover narcotics officer. And that brings us back to the very first moment Dahlia looked directly into the hidden camera.
You know what I mean? Like, you obviously know where I'm at.
The thing about self-destruction is that it happens all the time, and it's most often a very difficult thing to witness, as it can be the casual sequence of uncontrollable circumstances, such as adversity, tragedy, or misfortune. Yet when a person's self-destruction occurs solely due to their own greed and corruption, it becomes far less difficult and a lot more fascinating to behold.
If he's at work, when he's not at work, then, he gets two in the head. That's it, I take a couple things with me, break a couple windows, make it look like a robbery that went bad, it's all over, I'm gone out of there. I don't know how well you handle pressure, you understand? I don't know, because I don't want...
No, I'm not gonna, I'm a lot tougher than what I look. I know you see me and you're like, oh, what a cute little girl, whatever. But I'm not.
Talking to him,
there's no changing, there's no, I'm determined
definitely
already. I'm positive, 5,000% sure, around 6:30, 7 o'clock, he always walks the dog in the morning.
Okay.
He walks the dog across, over where the lake is, and our door is always unlocked.
I'll be in the house by 6:30 Wednesday morning. Okay. 6 o'clock. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, and I guess
you'll hear from me.
I'll hear from you.
All right.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Bye.
Dahlia got out of the car and drove away, believing her husband would be murdered just 2 days later. She followed orders and went to the gym at 5:43 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Police then knocked on the door and gave Michael the unfortunate news of his wife's intentions before driving him to the police station.
We need to get you to the station.
No.
We need to get you to our police station.
I want to see him.
I can't let you see him, man. We have to do our job. If you want us to find this killer, okay, we need you to calm down. I'm going to need you to go with these detectives, okay? Does he have enemies? Is there anyone that would want to hurt him? Okay, who would want to hurt him? Witnesses said they saw a black male running from me. I can't let you see him, ma'am. Ma'am, I cannot do this right now. Ma'am, I can't do it. Detective Yopi, I need you to take her to the station. I can't. Ma'am, go with these detectives. If you want to help your husband, okay? If you want to help your husband, you need to go to the station with these gentlemen and tell us everything you know about who he knows, who he's connected to. Don't worry, we've already taken care of your dogs with animal control for right now. Everything's under control. And we'll take care of everything else, okay? Thank you, guys.
First of all, let me just tell you, I'm sorry for your loss.
I just want to see my husband, please.
All right.
I love my husband. We love you, too. I just want to see something.
Listen, is there anybody that you know that you think would want to kill your husband?
My husband's on probation.
Dahlia recounts Michael's entire criminal history in vivid detail, gives multiple reasons as to why someone would want him dead, and even names a potential suspect, who in reality had nothing to do with the situation, and was only a former business associate.
Right now, I'm going to go out and get in touch with the officers at the scene. I want to see if the house was burglarized.
Okay.
All right, just hang on for a second.
Thank you.
In the next moments, her karmic debt will have finally caught up, and for perhaps the first time in her adult life, neither sex appeal nor her fabricated charm will be enough to save her from the consequences of her actions.
You're going to jail for solicitation of first-degree murder on your husband.
I didn't do anything.
Did you hear what I just told you?
I heard what you said, but I
You
didn't.
say you're 5,000% sure you want him dead. You think I made that up?
I didn't do
God did.
anything.
Listen to
I
me.
didn't do anything.
You're going
I
to
didn't
jail.
do anything, please. I didn't do anything.
Don't tell me you didn't do anything. You better quit your playing. Listen to me.
Oh my God.
I want you to quit your acting and get this over with.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'm not. I don't know what's going on, please.
I'm going-
Get what's happening, please.
Dahlia was given roughly 15 minutes in her cell to calm down and have reality sink in. She was then brought back to the interrogation room, where two less confrontational detectives would pursue a confession. They were hoping the immediate switch from hostility to patience would influence her compliance.
I was told one thing, and now it's like slowly, like all these things are. I don't really know what happened.
I just want to hear the truth. I mean, it's done, it's over with now, and we know the truth. So, I know it's hard. Everything's on tape, Dahlia. There's no denying it.
Dahlia, listen to me for a
I
second,
didn't
okay?
do anything.
Listen to me for a second, okay? This is not our first day, okay? It's definitely not our second day, all right? This is an ongoing investigation, all right? Not only do we have your videotape, we have every conversation that you've had leading to this point, all right? So for you to sit here and deny that you haven't done anything, it's not going to help. I mean, I'm just telling you the truth. That's the truth,
I just
all
want to go
right?
home.
Well, unfortunately, you're not going home, okay? You're looking at some serious charges here.
You sound like a fool right now denying this, because, like my partner just said, everything's on tape. Video and audio.
I just want to go home.
I know, but you're not going home, you see? You're being arrested, so you're not going home.
So what do I have to do to go home? I'd just like to go home.
You're being arrested. This is a game. In your mind, it might be a little game, but this is very, very serious. Murder? Are you kidding me?
Dahlia refuses to give any sort of acknowledgement whatsoever, even after being confronted with the hidden camera footage. She was then taken to the Palm Beach Detention Center, professing her innocence the entire way. When she finally got to jail, she accepted the offer to make a phone call. Now, try and imagine yourself in her position. Now think of the absolute last person on planet Earth that you would call at that moment.
Hello?
Hey, it's me.
Yeah, what's up?
Nothing, Mike. Can you please come here?
Hey, listen, I don't want to fight with you. Honestly, I can't help you.
Mike,
Don't you understand what just happened?
what they're saying is not true.
How is that possible?
Like, I'm sitting here. It's not true. It's not possible. You wouldn't even give me 2 minutes to talk to you, but it's not possible. Like, please, I need an attorney. Can you please help me? It's not true.
I heard, Dahlia, too. Look, how do you explain what I saw and heard?
Like, I am limited on my phone call. You know more than anybody. It's not true. Just give me time so I can talk to you.
What did it say? I saw it. I heard it.
I saw what you saw and I heard what you heard.
Okay, what the f***? You said you wanted to have me killed. I heard that. What's
Not
the problem?
true. That is not
How is
true.
it not true?
How can you believe that?
I heard your voice.
How can you believe it?
That isn't the point. I heard you say it.
It's not. I heard what you heard and it's not.
What did I hear then? I heard you say.
I heard the tape. Okay, I heard the tape and I saw pictures and I saw the whole 9 yards. I saw all of it.
So why would you meet a guy in a parking lot? Explain that.
I'm sitting here on the phone. I will tell you when I see you in person. Please.
I can't come there anyway. I'm not allowed there.
That's not true. Who said that? They tell you that on purpose.
It's out of my hands.
You're not even trying.
What am I supposed to do?
You're supposed to get me an attorney, please, so I can talk to you.
I saw you with this guy in the truck or whatever the f*** it was. I saw it. I heard your voice clearly. What? I don't understand.
I did not say those things. Period.
So how did they get your voice on that tape recorder?
Like, I'm limited with my time, please.
You gotta be kidding me.
I'm telling you right now, okay?
You can't fix this. How are you going to tell me that you didn't say it, you didn't do it? When I saw you say it and I saw you do it.
Do you have any idea how I was when they told me what supposedly happened to you, how I got and how I was and how everything? Can you meet me in person so I can talk to you?
No.
Why?
Why should I?
Because you know me. I never, ever, 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 ever in my wildest dreams ever want that for you, ever.
Well, you said it. You hired a guy.
No, I did not say anything. Period. I didn't say anything.
I don't know how you're going to actually have the nerve to sit here and lie to me now. I can't help you even if I wanted to. Do you get it?
Why don't you want to?
It's out of my hands.
You're not even trying. It's different if you're trying. You're not even trying.
What could I possibly do for you? I don't get it. What could I do?
You're not even trying. Like, I love you. Don't do this to me. I'm sitting here. Everybody treated me awful, sir. I didn't do anything to you. You know me. Everyone here seems awful to me.
I can't help you. There's nothing I can do to help you. Know what I'll do? You know what I'll do for you? Seriously?
What?
You sign my house back over to me. I'll help you, Mom, immensely. Give me my house back. That's it.
That's it what?
I'll have the papers sent over to you somehow. You'll sign them over to me, and then I will help your mother. Okay?
I'm not signing anything.
I know you wouldn't sign anything. I knew that wasn't going to happen, so I can't help you. Okay?
That's what you're thinking about. I'm sitting here rotting, and you're thinking about
Now you tried having me killed. I just offered to help you, and again, you had the balls to say no to me. You just basically said F you to me, which is hilarious considering your situation and considering what the F just happened today. All right?
I'm getting fingerprinted now.
Dahlia called her mother soon after.
Yes, I'm here, Mom. They said this to me.
Okay,
I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything.
You did. I know you didn't. I know you didn't. Where are you? You in gun club?
Yes, I'm here in gun club, and I heard Mike is at the house. I want him out of my house.
Okay, well, right now we're going to need to have a lawyer first,
It's my house. The title's in my name.
All right, okay, don't worry about that right now.
Dahlia spent 20 months in jail before standing trial in April 2011. Her defense was bizarre. They claimed Michael DiPolito was a fan of reality TV, and the murder-for-hire plot was a hoax, just so he could get on television.
I mean, what are we doing here?
The verdict came a month later on May 13th. The jury needed just 3 hours of deliberation.
I mean, this girl doesn't feel sorry for anything. She still doesn't think she did anything. If she would have owned it, like a normal person, and would have owned up to something, I would respect that. But instead, when I get to court, I hear that I want a reality television show. As soon as we walk out here, you know they're filing for an appeal. You know why? Because they think everybody in this room's stupid. That's why. We're all stupid, and they're smarter than us. Because they think everybody in this room's stupid. That's why. Because we're all stupid, and they're smarter than us. Because they think everybody in this room's stupid. That's why. Because we're all stupid, and they're smarter than us. Because they think everybody in this room's stupid. That's why. Because we're all stupid, and they're smarter than us.
I think your moral compass is askew. I think that it's something that it's not like getting a drug addict off drugs or an alcoholic off alcohol. The jury's found you guilty, Ms. DiPolito, of solicitation to commit first-degree murder. And here's the way I see it. And I just come to the most obvious conclusion that you were motivated by greed, by avarice. There's no evidence that you were being beaten and you were defending yourself, that you were a battered wife, that you were an alcoholic, that you were the victim of child abuse, that you were somehow acting in defense of yourself, even under a misguided notion. There's none of that here. All of your conduct was just for self-indulgence and just trying to take every bit of money that you could get a hold of so that you could go on and live this fast life. In as early as March, you began this relentless campaign to get rid of your husband. First, you're thinking, well, I'll just get him sent off to prison and that would be good enough. You used guile and sophistry to dupe others into your web of deception. You were the puppet master that was pulling all the strings. You weren't acting at the direction of somebody else. You weren't under the influence of somebody else. You were the one calling the shots. And you were engaged in a course of conduct not over some momentary lapse of good judgment. This wasn't like, I ran a red light, I shouldn't have done that, or, oh, what was I thinking? I had the gun in my hand and I shot it because I was angry. It was weeks and months that you continued with these different schemes to try to rid yourself of your husband that was just something out of a novel. And it was horrible to watch it unfold as the trial testimony came out. It was pure evil. After those attempts to have your husband taken out of the picture by way of sending him back to prison for a long period of time, and when you learned that it wasn't good enough to have the house in your name, that if you wanted to sell the house, you were still going to need his signature, I think that's when it started to turn to even more sinister behavior. Mr. Salnick indicates that, being remorseful or saying I'm sorry really doesn't mean anything. And I disagree. I think, even today, Mr. DiPolito is still your husband. I think that I'm sorry, it's my fault, I did it, would have gone a long way. Not only for his healing, but it would have perhaps suited your own purpose. But I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard an ounce of remorse. The opposite of that. When confronted with the obvious facts, the most powerful testimony as to who you are is when you were in the police station and your husband walked by and looked in and you were begging him, tell him this is all wrong, tell him this is all wrong, and then later on the telephone you were saying, he was confronting you with the evidence. I saw the tapes. I saw the videotape of you trying to have me killed. And you just cold-bloodedly said to him, I saw what you saw, and I'm telling you that's not true. And it was astonishing, the cold-blooded denial that you're willing to go to try to avoid the obvious. You have a certain facet of who you are with your mom, your sister, your brother, and they see the good in you, as siblings and parents should. But who you are when no one's looking, other than a camera in a police car, is quite different. And I think that peers deeply into your soul and speaks volumes of the way you were presenting this, and it was quite chilling to witness that. Based upon those factors, then, Ms. DiPolito, I'll accept the verdict of the jury. I'll find you guilty. I'll adjudicate you guilty. And I'm sentencing you to 20 years in the Department of Corrections.
Dahlia's first encounter with retribution was a big one, yet it didn't last long. The sentence was thrown out on a technicality 1 month later, and she was able to remain under house arrest for 6 years awaiting her next trial. Her second trial began in 2016.
Dahlia DiPolito takes the stand with an unusual defense.
Dahlia says it was all part of a plan she hatched with her then-husband, Michael DiPolito, and former lover, Mohammed Shahadi, to get famous. In an exclusive pretrial interview with 2020 this past December, DiPolito said she's just misunderstood.
Who is Dahlia DiPolito?
Understanding, sweet, and compassionate.
Manipulative, conniving.
Her attorney, Brian Claypool, says Dahlia is the innocent victim of a fame-hungry police department.
Our job in the second trial is to provide the proper context for the jury to see that this is not really what it looks like. I look at that video and I see somebody who's struggling with whether she's really sure.
She's struggling? What?
Why? Well,
how is she struggling if she's 5,000% sure?
Well,
The tape was, it was a show, it was a tape. That was the purpose of it.
You were acting in those tapes?
Yes.
But you're telling the truth now?
Yes.
Why should we believe you?
Because it's what happened. It's the truth.
State of Florida versus Dahlia A. DiPolito, defendant. Verdict. We, the jury, find as follows. As to count one, we find the defendant guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder as charged in the information. So say we all, the 16th day of June, 2017, in West Palm Beach.
Dahlia DiPolito was sentenced to 16 years in prison on July 21, 2017. She was not given the possibility of parole, and her release date is set for August 24, 2032. Her appeal was rejected by the Florida Supreme Court in September of 2019, and her sentence is now definitive. She is currently being held at the Lowell Correctional Institution in Gainesville, Florida, where she is expected to remain until the day of release. She will be 50 years old.